No, you're wrong.
The BK Lounge can hit.
I disagree completely.
You like Burger King over McDonald's?
That's your worst take, I think.
Absolutely.
That's a crazy take.
Well, they were doing this. 20 people apparently starved to death in Gaza because of the blockade that this Burger King enthusiast is doing.
Preventable starvation is entirely man-made. And every stage of this has been predicted. And at every stage, action could have been taken by Israel, by the international authorities, international community, those who back Israel, to prevent what is happening now from being prevented. And those steps have simply not been taken. And in the last couple of months, what we saw was a total siege of Gaza, followed by a partial lifting. But the partial lifting was not to bring in the kind of humanitarian program that we have been familiar with as humanitarians over the decades. It was to bring in
the privilege is being able to look away. Fucking exactly. Yeah, you put it perfectly. That's it, right? Like, we all have the privilege to be revolted, horrified, and disgusted by this, and then put our phones down, or turn our computer off, or open a new tab, or start looking at dog TikTok videos to try and like feel slightly better about the human condition.
A type of ration program that is simply an arm of the Israeli military. So the obligation to prevent has surely been activated when the International Court of Justice says there's a plausible case and we instruct Israel to do certain things, in this case, provide humanitarian assistance. And I must add, Israel is represented on that court, and the Israeli judge, the former Chief Justice Aharon Barak, voted in favor of this provision of very widespread humanitarian assistance. Israel did not comply. 15, 16 months on, it is still not complying. What greater signal of the impending, the probability of genocide occurring do we need than that signal from the court, that decision, that order by the court, including the vote of the Israeli judge?
So I just want to set this up as a precursor, obviously, because we're going to be talking about the Nelk Boys podcast, a new horrifying podcast to me. I wasn't fully aware of them until yesterday. Every day I see a new headline that says this exact same thing, though. Like, if you go into Al Jazeera, if you look at Al Jazeera every single day for, at least the past, I want to say several years, but there's another headline that is 50 people killed while trying to get food, 125 people killed while trying to get food, 25 people starved to death, 10 people starved to death, 35 people starved to death, 60 people killed, 60 people starved to death. At least 15 people, including 4 children, have died because of hunger in Gaza today. Israeli forces have killed 63 Palestinians, including 26 people trying to get aid, again at the aid centers, and attacks across Gaza since dawn, a day after their tanks pushed into southern and eastern parts of Deir al-Balah for the first time. Also happening at the same time, I don't know if you know this, but if you are a country in the West that is funding this genocide right now, you may also have people from your countries that are joining the Israeli army to go commit vile atrocities, to go murder children, to do the most horrifying things a human being can commit, and then get it out of their system, and then hopefully return back to another country as if everything's totally fine, and not have any repercussions for those actions. I was talking about how the UK, actually, it's totally fine for you as a UK citizen to, if you are a dual citizen, go to Israel, serve in the IDF, commit vile, horrifying war crimes, and then return to UK. But if you hold a sign up that says, "I support Palestinian action," you'll be arrested. As you are seeing people get arrested in the UK right now for holding up signs that say, "I support Palestinian action." Then you'll get arrested. But that's legal to do. Now, the Maple in Canada did a report in which they wanted to track every single soldier who serves in the IDF, who's a dual citizen in Canada, who goes back and forth and tries to do this entire weird-ass fucking war crimes vacations. And now, apparently, a lot of them are very worried that they might actually feel fear for prosecution for, again, participating in a genocide. Israel's genocide in Gaza has left soldiers serving in the occupying army afraid to return home, fearing prosecution for war crimes committed during the ongoing assault, which has killed more than 58,000 Palestinians, most of them women and children. In Canada, where several citizens have served in the Israel Offensive Forces, a growing number of these soldiers are reported to be reconsidering trips home after learning they may be under investigation. In June, the RCMP confirmed that it launched a structural investigation into crimes committed during the Gaza assault. The RCMP said that it was acting under Canada's Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes Act, which gives Canadian authorities the power to gather evidence and eventually open criminal cases into genocide, war crimes, or crimes against humanity, even when these crimes happen abroad. The investigation began in early 2024 and described as an intelligence gathering process, but the RCMP has not ruled out future prosecutions. I just want to calm everyone down before they're like, holy shit, whoa, Canada, you're incredible. I didn't know you do this. Nothing's come from it. It's just been basically that on one end, you really should be thanking the investigative reporting done by the Maple and the website that they set up, which is Track IDF Soldiers, where they show you all of the IDF soldiers who also happen to be Canadian citizens who may have served in the IDF during this genocide. It's all publicly available information, by the way. They have not done any doxing. They have not done anything. They state their methodology strictly on the website. It's one of the reasons why, despite a lot of organizations trying to take the website down, they've remained and allowed to be online as a result of the fact that they are not doing illegal activities in any way. They're simply creating a list. And hey, by the way, if you don't want to be on a list of potential war criminals, maybe don't go do war crimes. Maybe don't go travel during a genocide to an offensive force that is actively doing the genocide and volunteer or actively working there. While no charges have been laid, the investigation has already created anxiety amongst dual Israeli-Canadian citizens who served in Gaza. Several have reportedly canceled trips or sought legal advice. Some fear being detained at the border. Others say they received no support from Israeli officials or consular services. That part's fucking wow. Never thought I'd say this, but FAFO. This comes amid growing international momentum for legal action against those responsible for the mass killing of civilians in Gaza. At least 12 countries, including Brazil, Belgium, and Ireland, have received legal complaints targeting Israeli soldiers for alleged war crimes. In some cases, investigations have begun into individuals identified through open source evidence, such as news footage, social media posts, and military records. One group, the Hin Rajab Foundation, named after the 6-year-old Palestinian girl killed in Gaza, has played a leading role in these efforts. The organization has tracked IDF soldiers, submitted evidence to governments, and filed cases in countries where international law allows for universal jurisdiction. In Canada, a public website created by journalist David Mastracci has included the names of Canadians who served in the IDF. Anxiety amongst Israeli soldiers is further fueled by Canada's shifting policy. The government has halted arms exports to Israel. It's, sorry to tell you, a Middle East monitor, but no, they haven't. We said we did, but we didn't. It turns out that we just kept on shipping them. The excuse that the Canadian government gave was that those were existing contracts. We're just not going to do new ones. So we've got a one-way arms embargo eventually in the future. We're not going to sign new contracts with Israel. I mean, we could, but for now, we're cutting that off. But we are going to fulfill the old contracts. So in 2024, we actually shipped more weapons to Israel than we had the previous year. So we're actually in the midst of the genocide, shipping more weapons to Israel. And none of that absolves anyone of the crimes against humanity and our fucking participation in it. That's what's becoming more and more the reality. We also are not upholding our duty under international law the way that, say, Ireland has banned trade on settlement goods. Canada has not. On June 25th, the Irish government introduced the Occupied Territories Bill, a landmark piece of legislation aimed at aligning Ireland's trade policy with international law. The bill prohibits the import and export of goods and services to and from Israeli settlements located in the occupied Palestinian territory, outposts deemed illegal under international law by the International Court of Justice. The issue of Israeli settlements is not merely a political or moral concern, it is fundamentally a matter of international law. In July 2023, the ICJ issued an advisory opinion reaffirming the illegality of Israeli settlements of the occupied Palestinian territory. The court urged states to refrain from any support, whether through trade or other means, that can sustain these unlawful settlements. Ireland's bill is expectedly framed as a step towards fulfilling these obligations, aligning national legislation with international legal standards. The opinion leans significant legal and moral weight to the growing demands and stakes of taking concrete action to avoid complicity and what is widely recognized as a grave breach of international humanitarian law. Since the 1967 Six-Day War, both international communities and the UN Security Council have consistently declared these settlements illegal. Key resolutions, including the UN Security Council's resolutions 242, 446, and 465, explicitly call on Israel to withdraw from occupied territories and condemn the establishment of the settlements. These resolutions emphasize such actions that violate the Fourth Geneva Convention, which prohibits an occupying power from transferring its civilian population into occupied territory. This also, by the way, is kind of the, I would say, lane that a lot of liberal Zionists like to operate within, where they will say condemn extremist settlers because that to them is yeah, that's easy. That goes too far. For me, I'm not for the illegal settlements that take place in the West Bank. I think that's it's a violation of international law, and yeah, I condemn it. I'm not actively going to do anything in terms of my advocacy or in my politics to try and stop it, or really bring awareness to it, unless someone accuses me of being pro-genocide, at which point I will say, hey, excuse me, all right, I am on the record having said that I am against the illegal settlements that take place in the West Bank. Have been for a very long time, okay? But also, have you heard of October 7th and what happened there? And then how evil Hamas is? Do you condemn them? Then that's basically where I'm going to use this as an opportunity to talk about it. And so, contrast to the ICJ ruling, Canada's current approach undermines the international legal framework. Under the Canada-Israel Free Trade Agreement, goods produced in Israeli settlements enjoy tariff-free access to the Canadian market, effectively legitimizing economic ties with territories deemed illegal under international law. This economic activity helps fund settlement expansions. Trade under the CIFTA totaled nearly $2 billion in 2021. While Canada positions itself as a humanitarian leader, this trade agreement contradicts its stated commitment to upholding international law. And this, my friends, is why you might be wondering why someone like Mark Carney or say the neoliberal fucking politicians in your particular part of the world are not letting this go. Despite the moral outrage of the entire fucking planet right now, despite the disgust, despite the fact that like it feels like you're going to rip your hair out in the morning when you literally see dead babies that have starved to death. And like I every day when I wake up, I'm seeing pictures that look like they're from the Holocaust, but they're in color or video. And it's just like, this is a reality on the ground that we are completely enabling. And why? Why is everyone, like, why are politicians so starkly in contrast to the will of their own voters? Like, universally, if you look at polling right now, the majority of people in Canada do not support this. The majority of people in the United States even do not support this. The shift has been dramatic. And for the past 2 years of witnessing a genocide broadcast live, yeah, will maybe have that effect. And yet politicians are refusing to take any concrete action. They're refusing to do anything. They are not ending the trade agreements. They are not imposing sanctions. They're not stopping arms shipments. They are writing strongly worded letters. That's it. That's all they're doing. They're just like, we, in the strongest possible terms, call for an immediate end to the hostilities and to allow for food to get in there. This is us. We're taking a stance. We care about international law, and that's all we're gonna do. Not gonna do anything else. We could, at the very, very, very minimum, could you stop shipping the bombs? And that includes defensive capabilities. I know there's this big thing right now where people are like, well, there's a big difference between, selling the arms, the bombs, the missiles. I agree with you that that's probably not something we should be doing right now. But in terms of arming Israel's defensive network, I mean, that's simply to protect Israeli children. You don't want Israeli children to die. Why in the world wouldn't you support the Iron Dome funding? What's wrong with you? Every genocide throughout human history, I just wanted to clarify for anyone who doesn't know this historical fact, has not been advertised while it was taking place as a genocide. It is not something out loud that the people who are committing the genocide say, we are now going to do a genocide. We are actively doing a genocide. It's always been sold as a defensive measure. Always. Throughout human history, without fail, if you look at all the examples of genocides that have taken place, it's always said by the aggressor of the genocide that they are doing this as a defensive action. That they have to do this because if they don't, well then, Hamas is going to commit a genocide of Jewish people in Israel. So we're preemptively trying to stop them through not genocide, but war. I was like, what? Just a couple of dude bros who's got a sports podcast brought on like one of the most active, if not the most active, horrifying war criminal like operating today. And you brought him on your podcast to arrest him, right? To do a citizen's arrest? To be like, we're handing you over to the Hague? No? Oh, no, it was to shoot the shit. Cool. To talk to him. I'm not going to play it, because I think the whole thing is just fucking disgusting-ass genocide propaganda. But I do want to point out some of the things they did talk about, just so you know.
What's your go-to at McDonald's?
No, I'll tell you, Burger King. We did the, the double,
Whopper?
The double.
I haven't ripped Burger King in a long
It's
time.
not.
Burger King kind of sucks.
Yeah.
No,
The,
you're wrong.
the BK Lounge can hit.
I disagree completely.
You like Burger King over McDonald's?
That's your worst take, I think.
Absolutely.
That's a crazy take.
No, that was fine. I mean, I like Burger King.
What's your go-to at
Well, they were doing this. 20 people apparently starved to death in Gaza because of the blockade that this Burger King enthusiast is doing on children. There's 1 million kids who are being starved to death right now. But yeah, sure. Talked to him about the Whopper. And also talked about the New York election.
Even in New York City, right? What's Zoran?
Yeah.
He's an anti-Semitic guy.
Yeah.
The highest, I think the highest population of Jews in New York City. How
By the way, keep all this in mind. The reason I just want to show you a couple clips is because we're going to be watching them getting called out by both Hasan and Adam Friedland. And their defense, as you can see in their shocked faces, that the world was just revolted by these two fucking morons. But they've just got this look where they're just like, we hear you. Like, honestly, I like, the thing is, we don't agree with him. Like, but we just want to have conversations with anyone, bro? Like, it's just all about having a conversation with anybody. Yeah, even people we don't agree with. Like, I would have a conversation with anyone, Would I have a conversation with Hitler? I mean, it would be a fucking, banger episode, because we could really ask him about all the shitty things he does, And so obviously they get to at a certain point being like, did you glaze him? Like, did you bring him on there to question him about his work? Why else would you do this? Why the fuck would you do this? How could you be so tone deaf, callous, and cruel? Genuinely, cruel is the fucking word for this kind of shit. Because again, while you were doing this in the hour that went by, how many kids starved to death because of the monster that is sitting right in front of you? And you want to sit there and be like, what's your favorite Burger King combo? Yeah? Yeah, but what do you like at McDonald's? So do you think Taco Bell over McDonald's or Popeyes over Taco Bell? What's going on there? And then talk about a mayoral race with this fucking genocidal war criminal and bring up, and by the way, the guy, Zoran Mamdani, he's a racist, eh? That's who you have criticisms for? As you were sitting across again from one of the greatest war criminals in history, you're sitting across from him right there. He's staring you in the face. And you're talking to him about how Zoran Mamdani, the guy who wants to give cheap food and lower the cost of rent for people, is the real extremist and the racist. That's what you did here. Bravo.
is that even possible?
Well, it's possible because a lot of people have been taken in by this nonsense. I mean, what? You want to defund the police? You want to have people go into stores and,
You want to have every one of your leftist beliefs validated? There you go. There you go. I've never felt so validated in my beliefs before. Hearing, again, one of the worst fucking horrifying humans in history saying, that's bad. It's opposite day. That means it's an incredible idea. Holy shit.
rob them and be free. You think that really creates a good society? You want to crush all enterprise. You want to tax people to death. I mean, that's a one-term effort, but, sometimes you have to get mugged by reality to understand how stupid that is. So that's silly, but, sometimes folly overtakes human affairs for a while, but not for long, because reality steps in. So I'm obviously not happy with it, but I'm less concerned with it, because I think if we can speak the truth.
There's even more reason to vote for Zoran Mamdani. Vote for Zoran. Make Benjamin Netanyahu sad. You can add that to the list.
To the young people of America, they wise up pretty quickly.
And then finally, their defense of this entire fucking spectacle was that, well, we did ask him about the whole starving kids thing. Okay, so we're not bad. I mean, again, this is just a conversation, and we don't have to agree with all of our guests. We can bring on people whose opinions we disagree with. Okay, and we did use it as an opportunity to ask him to his face about the allegations of starving people.
Why do they say Israel's like starving the people of Gaza?
Well,
did you notice how that was framed? Just like, let's go right at the jump. Why do they say that Israel is? Not us, not we, not me, not like... So I have seen a lot of video, a lot of images, a lot of testimony, a lot of human rights organizations internationally, including the UN Rapporteur, including the Lemkin Institute, founded to prevent genocide, speaking out against this. What's the deal? It's, some people say that apparently Israel is involved in some not great stuff. What do you have to say about that?
It's like starving the people of Gaza.
Well, because we're trying to get the food in, and we let food trucks in, and guess what happens when we let them in? Hamas steals the food.
This right here is why you are complicit. This is why you are now monsters forever. Forever, honestly. Because again, as children literally starved to death while you were doing this shit, he then got to do propaganda. I don't know how many millions of fucking college kids listen to the sports broadcast and are going to sit there and be like, oh shit, so it's not as bad as I thought. I was getting upset about this. I was thinking of actually doing something, maybe donating to a charity, maybe doing a protest, maybe writing to a politician, maybe expressing my disgust or outrage. But it turns out, because I was listening to this podcast that I love, the Nelk boys, they were talking to Benjamin himself. And the guy says that it's actually Hamas that's starving all the kids, not him. He's trying to feed them. The guy sounds benevolent.
Takes the good chunk for itself. Then they jack up the prices, and then they sell the food to its population, to its hungry population, if they give them at all. And then use the money that they take from their own people to recruit more killers into their terror machine.
Why do they say?
So again, you have done genocide propaganda. If you bring on the architect of the genocide to give his opinion, he lies to your face very demonstrably, and then you just sit there and you're like, okay, well, what about McDonald's? What do you like? What's your combo?
Israel's like starving the people of Gaza.
Well, because we're trying to.
So anyways, that's basically the sum total of how revolting it was. Now, I didn't know this because, like, you know, I was also streaming yesterday, but somehow Hasan connected and ended up getting an opportunity to call these people out, and ended up bringing on Adam Friedland of the Adam Friedland Show, previously of Cumtown. And at this point, I gotta say, the dirtbag left has been more validated in the past couple of years than I ever could have expected. I don't know if you all remember this, but like during the last couple of presidential runs of Bernie Sanders, the so-called dirtbag left was basically identified as places like Chapo Trap House, Hasanabi, you know, people who were mean. They were mean. They weren't just ripping in to conservatives and Republicans. They were ripping into liberals and Democrats. And there was this show where they would go and they would read Washington Post articles or New York Times reporting and articles, and they would mock liberalism. They would mock Ezra Klein. They would mock the idea of you know, the benevolence of the Democratic Party and how they are the better of the two choices. Obviously, one choice is just fundamentally evil and the other choice is fundamentally good. And they didn't believe in that dynamic for one reason or another. And they were mean. They were using weird and strange slang and terms, and they were being cruel to Hillary Clinton. They got really, really aggressive towards Hillary Clinton. I almost feel that they were being misogynists towards Hillary Clinton. And that, you know, by them calling her a war criminal, by them saying that she was like the butcher of Libya, but by them stating that effectively that she, you know, really hadn't met a single ethnic or minority group in the Middle East, that she didn't want to slaughter wholesale, that effectively was misogynistic. It was cruel. So they're dirtbags. They're the dirtbags left.
Reputable with the complete opposite view of Netanyahu. So I personally think right now we're going to bite the bullet, and I think we're going to take a lot of flack, but I think within a week or 2 weeks time, we're actually going to be educating our entire audience and probably the entire internet on everyone's point of view.
Spoiler alert, the next person they talked to was Nick Fuentes. I'm not even joking. It's the fucking timeline we live in. It went from like, yeah, we're going to talk to Benjamin Netanyahu, and then they brought on fucking Nick fucking Fuentes. Like, I think so much of the problem here, the podcast bros who have become the new fucking, you know, media figures of 2025, is they don't give a fuck. There's like, to them, they don't care. There's zero consequences. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, hey, if I bring on like 4 neo-Nazis and then like a war criminal and then we just shoot the shit, that's entertainment. because then our audience is going to be like, holy fuck. And then next week, we can bring on fucking someone who's not that, or who's maybe less than that. And then they can be like, well, that wasn't as fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fucking, this is fucking entertainment. You guys get this, right? That's what we're all doing this. We're all doing the same thing.
Crisis PR right now, and I can tell this is really stressful because everyone's mad at you. But please,
It's not,
you guys
bro.
just do pranks. People like to see you guys partying. Why you guys keep
We'll still party, bro.
In the middle of, you know, people can't leave Gaza.
Adam, we're
You know, it's
Adam, we were in Central Pay for a few days after this.
half the people that live there are children.
We were in.
75%
We agree with
of people that
you.
have died are women and children.
We
Why are
agree
you
with you.
wading into that? People like you
How-
guys because they like to party. You hit zaps. You do happy dads. You guys are fucking chill. Like to see Steve will do a chug. Just do it. Why are you touching that? Not
Adam, we
everything is
gotta, I agree. I agree. You know what?
Adam,
Adam's right. We don't have to
It
do
is
it.
a
Adam.
brutal blood. It is blood.
See,
It is
that's,
violent.
Adam, that's the problem.
Why
That's
are
the
you
problem.
guys
I'm gonna tell you something. Adam, I'm gonna tell you
You're
something.
not-
We're gonna
And if you're not
we're gonna-
qualified to do it,
Adam.
don't touch it.
drink. We're gonna hit
Tell you.
zaps, and then we're also gonna interview fucking world leaders. When it
But
comes
it's
to it,
not,
we're
it's
gonna
not
do
like,
three.
dude, you're not like interviewing the prime minister of Albania, okay? You're like, this is a guy, this is not,
Hasan,
if you
Hasan,
did
Hasan, you're
that,
being-
no
you're
one
being-
would,
you're
you
being
wouldn't
an
have to,
idiot.
you wouldn't be doing this video or this video call anyway. If you were doing that, nobody would give a shit.
We plan to do the stream. You can check my story. We plan to do this before we. And Hasan, you're coming in here all hot, but it's like, bro, we told you exactly what was gonna happen. I texted you ahead of time.
I know,
You
but
know we're gonna have someone who's pro-Palestinian on the other side.
okay, but that
and you're
doesn't
coming in here with all this
change the
animosity, and
dynamic.
it's just like, dude,
I found
you're
out
trying to-
about.
This is the clearest example of both sides in a genocide that, like, I think you could ever see. Like, if you just synthesized it into a singular moment right there. It's like, yeah, no, like, you don't get it, Hasan. We brought on Benjamin Netanyahu. I know. Yeah, he's the guy doing the genocide. We agree. I know. Like, the kids are starving. Yeah, I know. The emaciated bodies, all that. It's sad. But the thing is, we bring him on, and then we have these conversations, right? Really good numbers. Oh, fucking great numbers for the show. And then next week, I absolve myself by bringing on someone who's pro-Palestinian. And then the audience can decide. Are they pro-genocide or anti-genocide? That's totally up to them. Not us. Yeah.
I found out about the interview after you had already conducted it.
You haven't even watched the episode. You're trying
I know,
to
but if you were to have asked me
you're
ahead of time, I would have told you not to do it.
Even if he watches it, he'll still think the same thing. No, I know, but I'm just trying to impress him.
I watched so much Nelk. I love you, boys. Listen, boys. This is let's zoom out. This is a problem with today, with our society. Like even the fact that you're talking to Sneeko and Myron from Fresh and Fit.
Oh,
Like
Jesus.
that's not like these are content creators. These aren't fucking historians.
Yes.
These are people that like. These are the
Wait,
fact that
sorry.
like
That was examples of the pro-Palestinian voices. They're bringing- Certifiable racists? Like, Jesus Christ. No. Hey, we did our homework. We brought on the architect of the genocide himself, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu. But we also have pro-Palestinian voices coming on. Sneeko and Fresh and Fit. And fucking Nick Fuentes. Jesus Christ.
the experts on its politics and its war and its violence. There are people that study this, right? It's just not everything's content, guys.
But that's
Just
what we're gonna have
to-
on the next episode,
You
bro.
had Coke. Jesse would have never allowed this were he here. Jesse, he
Don't
told
hit
me
me
he
with
watched
that.
this episode.
I don't know enough about the
Adam comes
Nelk
very-
history.
He comes very
I don't know about the Nelk
studious.
history to know what
Everything
Adam is
that's
saying, but it seems to be
Yes.
impactful.
That's one thing about Adam is he will fucking know everything. That's good.
That's not-
That was
do you
good.
think
That's good.
Do you think that they're like they just didn't realize? You think that you think it's banality of evil? Guys, there's a book by this lady Hannah Arendt that I want you guys to read. The Banality of Evil.
They're not gonna read
And I
it.
want you guys to get back to me on it because it's sometimes like it's sometimes you I'm doing a podcast. It's just a podcast, but you don't realize that there's like a gravity there. There are powerful people wanting access to your.
These dudes have broken brains. Like, they're a college frat podcast. Like, that's what Adam's pointing out, right? Like, people want to watch you guys just fucking, you know, rip your vapes or whatever the fuck all these terms are. I can't even keep up with kids today. But they just want to see you do fun shit and talk about sports ball, and that's it. And talk about the UFC and shit like that. They aren't interested in this because I think we can all agree, yourselves included, you are woefully out of your depth. And it's all fun and games and memes until you're actually platforming a dude who's actively mass murdering children, which you did. So, like, you know, shit got real. It got real real fast. So maybe you should take some accountability. And their defense so far has been, we hear you. I don't agree with what's happening. I think it's like, it's bad, right? But we got other side. We were bringing on pro-Palestinian voices to try and equal the playing field, bro. All right. So, you know, Sneeko, Myron from Fresh and Fit, Nick Fuentes, they're going to be able to say the pro-Palestine side of things, right? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. That's like after interviewing Hitler, you went on to interview Franco. And then, you know, well, actually, no, I should say, because we're multiple tiers down with the fact that those are just influencers. Whoever the fuck was the radio broadcasting glazer of Franco. I do not know the historical context to know who that was, but there was probably a popular figure in Spain at the time who went on to the fucking radio waves and talked about how benevolent and awesome Franco was every day, bringing him on the next day after interviewing Hitler. That's the equivalent of this. That's the exact equivalent to then being like, but we're the multiple different perspectives. You know, it's what the people want. Give them what they want.
Fucking platform that have an agenda. It's just like when I was asking about like Zuckerberg, right? He like his stock plummets when he's like doing the censorship around COVID, and then everyone's like, "You're anti-free speech Democrat," and then he puts a chain against muscles, and then his stock goes back up.
Franco had it,
like it's this everyone that says you're an anti-free speech Democrat is like, no, you're sick because you do bow and arrow. But he's like he's going on podcasts now because it's his stock price. It's an advantage for them, and
they're
it's like,
using you guys. They're using you guys to look good.
Hassan, bro. Why does anybody, Hasan? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Hassan, anyone goes on a podcast to promote whatever they're doing. We're aware of that.
They're not. But
in this case, it's war crimes. Like, it's to pacify the general public that he's not, in fact, mass massacring children. He wants to do propaganda for genocide. That's what he's promoting. It's not a fucking book. Like, Jesus Christ. People come on podcasts all the time to promote their shit, bro. How's this any different?
Benjamin Netanyahu's not promoting a book, dog. He's promoting a genocide.
Bro,
that's the point.
We have O.J. Simpson on. We have Entertain on. It's the same shit.
Okay,
this one
none
might
of
be a
those
little bit
things.
more.
You do realize
Right,
that,
they
like,
don't match. No,
this is the one instance. This is the one instance where it's the worst guess you could have, because these guys are bad people, but what you're talking about is the worst person.
It's the most hated man on the planet. But Hasan, we agree. But also, if we're going to do it, then who's not going to do it?
I'm going to hook your ass up. I said BB to that guy Yossi, who's your Mossad handler, and Aaron said, "Who's that?" He didn't know that. He didn't know that he's named BB. I'm just that's protecting. No, you said, "Who's that?" Which is good. I mean, like, guys, just, it's like, unless you know, like, it's wading into fucking, like, it's violence, and they're bombs, and no.
You know what's wild, too, is that, like, back in the day, you could have made arguments that there was definitely collaborations, say, between, like, the CIA or the FBI and various figures in media, part of the Red Scare, in order to, again, do mass manipulation of the general public. Nowadays, you don't need that connection. You can just have a fucking Theo Vaughn or the Nelk boys who are just completely fucking clueless about this shit sit there and be like, so the genocide sounds like it's pretty bad, right? Oh, it's actually not a genocide. Ah, okie dokie. Cool. That's good, I guess. Awesome. Well, I mean, that makes it easy.
You're right. You're right. You are right. We definitely realize that.
Content about it. You don't have to do, like, we're going to fucking collab with him. We're going to collab with BB and Bonnie Blue. Guys, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's just a way. It's a sign of the world nowadays. It is.
Adam, you would have him on in a heartbeat. Adam, you would have him on in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, please. Don't get me wrong. This is infinitely worse than Theo Vaughn. Yeah, no, I agree.
You'd have him on in a heartbeat. Someone try
BB? Yeah, I would have only if Bonnie Blue was there to defend Palestine.
You would
No,
have
guys,
BB on in a heartbeat. Don't even try and
there's
fucking
a-
take the fact.
You know what? Like, I am very like, well, like I know a lot about this subject. You know, that even maybe is a step, a shade beyond. It's a little bit like it's very painful for me. Aaron, your grandparents were the Holocaust, right? Okay, please.
Yes.
Our parents' generation, right? We're told that like we have to protect these people, and if we don't protect these people, the Holocaust will happen again. I'm Jewish, by the way, Kyle. I don't know if you could tell. I don't really read as Jewish, but okay.
I'm
Our
the same
parents,
about
our parents were told that, right?
We
And
can
they were
tell
really
right away.
scared. They were really scared because they knew Holocaust survivors, right? And it really freaked them out. And they were like, "We got to protect Israel and stuff like this." But like, it hasn't protected Jewish people. It is.
I
the
agree with
people
you.
that live
That's why,
in
Adam, you
Israel,
can watch.
it's been a failure of a project. Think about the way Jewish people were treated prior to the Holocaust. For 1600 years, we were losers. Everywhere we went, they said, "Go away." Everywhere we went, they were killed. It sounds a lot like the Palestinians. Because
Adam,
they
I'm
are
gonna tell
people
you
that
this.
are dispossessed, and everywhere they go, they get killed. And if we
Adam,
can't see
listen.
ourselves in that, it's a shanda.
Adam,
Hasan,
I'm going to tell you something really quick. I don't agree with Netanyahu. I disagree with a lot of things he's doing. I think he's acting.
with him.
It doesn't matter. I think in certain aspects he's acting the same way as Hamas is. We've talked to him about this.
No, there's
Hamas
no.
wants to
See,
kill
this is what I
children,
mean.
and
You're saying
Netanyahu
he's
wants
acting
to
the
kill
same.
children. No, but Hasan,
Is that
you're disregarding the point. And Adam, you're not listening.
There's no comparison between Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas. That's my point. The point is that Hamas.
You tried to compare them earlier.
No,
I agree with you.
Benjamin
They're acting
Netanyahu is
the same way
infinitely
sometimes.
worse. That's the point. Israel is the Israeli military, and its conduct is a million times worse than anything Hamas could have ever done. It is hundreds, if not thousands, of October 7s that Benjamin Netanyahu has done with superior firepower over the course of the last 2 years. There's a mass
And that's just in
starvation
Palestine.
happening. Israel is the much more powerful entity in this process, and it's backed by the most powerful country on the planet, the United States of America.
Yeah.
There's a country
I think
where
bottom
people-
line, guys, on the
there's
Folsom
occupied
podcast,
territory
we're
where
willing to
people
have
don't have
anyone
right
on the
to
planet.
self-determination.
That's just
So that's the
just
only
the
way
way
to
it
do
is.
Did you hear that? Like, fucking not listening to any of this shit. He's just like, bottom line, bro, we'll talk to anybody. Content is king. King. You get that, right?
All you have to think of it is in this way: you have the longest occupation in modern history, right? And you have a group of individuals that don't have a right to self-determination. They don't have a country, right? And it's been this way in Gaza since 1967. Okay, in Israel, it's a country. They're in the United Nations. They can vote in their government. These people don't have those rights. And guess what? Right now, there's a fence around them, and they're trapped there. It's not it's not a one-on-one. You don't even have to.
It's literally.
Like, honestly, I don't know enough about them or the content, but I assume they've taken a position before on something, right? Like a UFC fight or you know, who's going to win the Super Bowl, something to that effect, which is the better vape juice. Like, they've taken an opinion on something at some point in their lives. They're not like infinitely unopinionated on everything. They've most likely had an opinion before. And so that's, I think, what the stress here is that, like, if you're going to do this is a little different than bringing someone onto your podcast who's doing a press tour for a book or a movie or a fucking, again, is some celebrity who just wants to talk about their latest project. This is a guy doing a genocide, and he wants to run propaganda for his genocide to Western audiences. That would be a fucking gift that you gave him on a silver platter. So you can use the defense of, we'll talk to anyone. Okay, to what end then? Because the people you're talking to about this effectively are going to be the architect of the genocide and then a bunch of fucking racists who are supposed to be the pro-Palestinian voice, which honestly would just fucking do anything. Like, how is someone who's listening to the podcast gonna walk away being like, oh, maybe Palestinian emancipation is an honorable or noble thing? On one end, they've got a guy who's effectively trying to say, oh, the real enemy is Hamas. Hamas is evil. And then you bring on Nick Fuentes, Sneeko, Fresh and Fit. Like, why not Andrew Tate just to fucking do the fucking, you know, 4 erectile dysfunctions of the apocalypse, get them all on there, and then each one of them can just spread anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. about how everything Israel does is associated with all Jewish people because that's what each one of those fuckers believes, and then have your audience completely primed to be Nazis. Like, great, awesome. You just fucking made a Nazi cocktail and shooken it up and then released it onto, I don't know, millions of fucking college students.
Better than Israel. You don't even have to frame it that way. That's just the situation with the Palestinians and the Israelis, right? Who are like living on either side of that fence. And it's just like, guys, like, I get what you guys got to be fucking stressed as shit right now, but like it's just like take it. It's just
we're good. Trust.
It's not. Have it like get in trouble for anything.
Okay, so I mostly saw like 1 or 2 clips online and then just the screenshots of their faces, and I genuinely thought it looked as if they thought they had fucked up. But now having watched this, it's way worse. They genuinely just kind of seem, I don't give a fuck. Just like oblivious.
You're right, Adam. I understand your point of view.
That's just like he's just got that perpetual face, right? He's got a face that just looks 24/7. Doesn't matter what still frame I do, it looks as if he's making a face for I fucked up, kind of thing. And I was fooled by that.
Comedy, we do a lot of fun stuff. So you're right. We actually definitely didn't need to do this.
People like to
I totally agree with you.
There is no good purpose. There's no good purpose to interviewing Benjamin Netanyahu unless you're like literally there to fucking laser him or directly arrest him and send him to The Hague, which is not going to happen under any circumstance, especially not inside of the White House. So the only thing that happens here, even if it's a failure overall because of how fucking how intensely disliked Benjamin Netanyahu is, the goal on his end was to basically use your platform in the same way that they use CNN. So in a way, you guys turned into CNN.
I don't think that we've already talked about this, but I don't think just because we platform people, they fall for everything the guest says. And this is the perfect example.
I know that. And
but oh my God, what a ridiculous defense. I don't have any responsibility if I platform a war criminal to have to actually, do some research, question him, try to stand up to him, because my audience, I think a certain percentage of them won't fall for the propaganda. Then why fucking do it? Why do it at all? Honestly, if it's like, well, yeah, I mean, some will, obviously, it's really good for propaganda, but some might not. So I think that absolves me, right?
They clearly aren't, and people are going to be more mad at you guys as a consequence of like interviewing.
Yeah, they're going to be mad at us.
Yeah, my point is that if you're asking me about the morality of it, there were journalists that were implicated and also charged with crimes in the Nuremberg trials for literally participating and doing propaganda for the Nazis, right? So in that regard, if you were to
I still don't think what he just said is clued into them. Like, this is a surreal moment in history, to be like completely clear. But what he is saying is that you two could stand trial one day for war crimes for what you've done. And it's like,
will there ever be a Nuremberg style trial for Israel? I don't know. Probably not. Okay. That doesn't mean that the crimes are not comparable. And that doesn't mean that your moral culpability in this regard is not close to what those guys did. I'm not saying that you guys are going to be tried in the Nuremberg style trials, but the moral culpability is still there for not, for conducting an interview such as this one.
I can definitely understand your perspective, Hasan, for sure. I just think that,
You didn't understand a word he just said, did you? Because I mean, the normal reactions would be either completely flabbergasted or indignance, right? You might be like, oh, dude, that's not going to happen. Or fear, or maybe shock or something, or maybe even curiosity at the very, what's a Nuremberg trial? So something to that effect. Not like, yeah, totally, man. Totally, bro. I get your opinion. Yeah, totally. See, where I'm coming from, he just said you might one day stand trial for fucking enabling war crimes.
That's just what we're going to do with the Full Send Pod. And I don't know, maybe we got to get a little better at grilling them, or maybe next time when we have a guest like this, we can hit up people like you, Hasan, and get what you would ask and stuff like that. But
no, Benjamin Netanyahu is never entering the same room as someone like myself. If I were to be in that room, he would not do this podcast with you, or maybe Hasan, they would assassinate me.
Let me ask you something, Hasan, why wouldn't you do someone from both sides?
What do you mean?
I mean, we've already debated this. We could,
But no, but if you could do Netanyahu and do somebody else, why wouldn't you do that?
But, well,
mean
I don't
both
think that
sides?
there's both sides in the situation. There is the perpetrators, like that's why I'm saying it's like akin to
Okay, so then let's
interviewing
say the
Adolf
leader
Hitler.
of Hamas, and you can do Netanyahu.
I mean, there is no both sides in the situation. That's why I'm saying it's like interviewing a concentration camp survivor and then interviewing Hitler. You know what I mean? Is there both sides in the situation? No. Interviewing the leadership of the Jewish partisans in World War II versus interviewing Adolf Hitler or like one of his loyal advocates or whatever is not comparable. There are no both sides in a genocide. That's why it's a genocide. It's such a big crime that it doesn't even justify a genocide in retaliation to said genocide. It's the crime of all crimes.
I don't have any hope. I almost feel that might have been the closest to maybe getting 1% of but unlikely.
Guys, I think you're getting in the weeds a little bit, right? It's not about.
No, I mean, no. I'll be honest.
He's
Hasan
like,
Hasan
if
makes
you
a
guys,
great point.
you guys
Okay.
sound well known,
All right.
not for politics.
1% got
right?
through.
And it's like,
No, yeah.
unless you're not gonna research more and get ready. Like you're Rocky. Guys, just like politics sucks, right? I got made fun of for liking it when I was a kid. It should go back to fucking being like for losers, right? Everyone's into fucking politics now. It sucks. It's just like you don't have to purport to like that to know about it, and just like leave it to fucking like the fucking Wolf Blitzer. You know, it's just like, it's not. Everything is contrary on it.
Whatever fucking happened with Blitzer.
Me too.
It's
No,
he did.
No, he's still kicking. How dare you guys come for the wolf?
Wolf Blitzer
Anyway,
still buzzing around.
He's still at CNN, yes. But Wolf Blitzer also ironically literally worked for AIPAC before he did CNN.
For someone that like understands like what's happening in the world, like, and you guys don't have to, because like people love you for prank and lifestyle content. You know,
Yeah,
and
see,
it's
that's
just-
where I think I'm gonna be honest on my.
I think Adam is a fucking hilarious comedian. I just wish that moment would have been given more than a couple seconds to set in. Because like at that time, right, Hasan basically, it seems like that was the closest either of them have gotten to any kind of recognition of how bad the thing they just did was. Like, you know, he was sitting there and at least was like, I kind of see your point actually. Like when you put it in those kind of terms, yeah, it does sound kind of rugged. But it just goes right back to, so hey, what's Wolf Blitzer up to? What's he doing?
Yeah, I gotta go. Stop.
What?
But yeah, no, go ahead. You're good.
I gotta go.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Guys, Kyle, it was really nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you, bro. We'll link
Adam, I'll talk to you soon, man.
Are you in
I went
LA?
up to Steve. No, I'm in New York.
New York? All right.
Adam,
I'm
I'll
in
see you,
Wilson,
buddy.
brother.
Easy,
What's up, bro?
Take care.
Did he just shut off his laptop?
Yeah,
That's
I
so
know, by
funny.
closing it.
Oh my god, he's
Goddamn
such a
boomer.
fucking
Hasan, so
boomer.
that's actually what I want to ask you, because
Wait, how do I? Why is he still
gets
in the
pissed-
call? Okay, here.
I don't know, but he gets pissed at us. Understandably, he gets pissed at us for platforming. But that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is like, when are we supposed to say no? When are we supposed to not do certain things?
I mean, look, there are certain people.
Also, why do you have to ask people that? Like, people have just gotten such monstrous platforms, and then like, how are we supposed to use it is really the question, right? And I'm just thinking we talk to everyone. I think that's the best thing to do, because that's how we generate the most amount of content and get the most amount of views, which in turn gives us the highest ratings, and that's probably how it works.
Well, there are certain people that that not everyone is equipped enough to be able to talk to, because that conversation, instead of being a productive one, turns into one where they could just like do propaganda and use the platform that you have to get their message across. I would use the same principle for Nick Fuentes, for example, except with
Who they
Nick
talk to the next
Fuentes,
day.
he hasn't. He's a neo-Nazi, but he hasn't done literal fucking crime.
Wait, why did you look surprised there? Did you not? You didn't know that, did you? Jesus. Was this after you had spoken? Was that already recorded, I wonder? And you're like, oh shit, what? He's a Nazi. I was wondering why he kept talking about the Jews.
Crimes like Benjamin Netanyahu has, while also simultaneously being a neo-Nazi of a different sort. So it's
Yes.
even worse than someone like Nicolas Fuentes. And I don't think that Nicolas Fuentes is appropriate to also platform in this situation.
What do you think about the goal of the Full Sun podcast being to platform anybody? What do you think about that overall? If that's the direction we're gonna go, right?
The reason why I think it's up to you guys,
I
whatever
thought
you
think
want to
that's
do.
stupid.
I obviously can't fucking advocate for deplatforming, especially in this day and age, especially in this time and place, because a lot of these institutions that would otherwise be tasked with like taking people. Hello? Oh, your camera pooped for a second. A lot of these institutions that are tasked with deplatforming people spend way more time deplatforming someone like myself, or at least trying to deplatform someone like myself, for having a consistent moral anti-genocide and anti-Zionist position than people who are actually anti-Semitic. They call me anti-Semitic, despite the fact that I'm not anti-Semitic. The reason why I would still choose not to platform neo-Nazis and things of that nature, regardless of how equipped I am at talking to them about these issues and being able to push back adequately, is because a lot of these guys are simply looking for any opportunity to get their message to a broader audience. They don't actually care about the truth. They don't actually care about coming across like good or bad. They just want to be heard, because every single time they go in front of a larger audience, they end up winning over some people in the margins to their side.
Which, by the way, that's exactly what the fascist who just got fired on the Mediasan Jubilee video said out loud. He was like, that's part of what I'm doing right now, is that, like, you know, by being on a platform, especially with someone like a prestigious, you know, ex-NBC news host, there's going to be some people who hear the message. That's part of it. It's part of the project.
Okay. And if you understand that they are not honest brokers here, that they don't like care about, back and forth discourse, then ultimately you're playing a role in allowing people to be recruited to that side. You're playing a role in getting more people to be recruited to neo-Nazis, to neo-Nazi groups. And I think that ultimately that is very dangerous.
That's why we're going to have both sides on.
But having both sides on
I
doesn't
get
actually
your
make up.
Again, to be clear, if you're just tuning in, their idea of both sides was to bring on Benjamin Netanyahu and then speak to Nick Fuentes. That's their both sides. Yeah. He's like, then we want to bring on some pro-Palestinian voices. That's why we're going to be talking to Sneeko, Myron from Fresh and Fit, Nick Fuentes, you know, and then that people can hear both sides.
Up for that is my point.
I agree with you too.
And then there's also no comparison to Benjamin Netanyahu on the other side anyway.
Hasan, I've told you multiple times. Me and Kyle disagree with a lot of things Netanyahu has done. We do not agree.
But
we stand neutral on this. But I mean, I understand the whole problem is platforming. But that's why we're gonna have from each side a representative that's gonna fucking tell us exactly.
The best possible thing you guys could have done before this interview. I mean, the best possible thing would have been to not have this interview at all. But the second best possible thing, if you were like adamant about having this interview, would have been to potentially bring someone that is knowledgeable before you did the interview, so it didn't just simply, so that Benjamin Netanyahu didn't use you guys like a fucking fleshlight, is what I'm saying, to just make himself look like not the demon that he is, but instead of a personable person.
Okay, finally. Well, I was just like, why is he wearing such baby gloves with him? I don't get it. I know that Hasan is so patient, and that, like, you know, when he talks to Asmongold, he doesn't just berate the guy and his monstrous beliefs. But at a certain point, like, nothing's getting through. You know? Like, at a certain point, they're just sitting there being like, no, totally, we hear you. That's why both sides, bro. We're going to talk to the other side. Yeah, so we talked to Benjamin Netanyahu. Now it's going to be Sneeko. Then it's going to be Nick Fuentes, and then Myron from Fresh and Fit, and then we've platformed everybody, and then our audience can basically pick what they want. Is kind of our philosophy.
Like here, I have something here that was sent to me from an excerpt from the interview that you guys conducted, where you asked him if he prefers, you know, Burger King or McDonald's or whatever. And it's really interesting because, like, people have yelled at me for doing this with, like, a dude in Yemen that they claim is a fucking terrorist. Okay? That dude is a 19-year-old in Yemen. He has no power. He holds no power on the planet. He is, at any given moment.
I mean, it just came up in the conversation.
At any given moment,
Yeah, but why the fuck are you both laughing? Because, like, it's not fucking, this shit is so gross. The reason this is such a horrifying clip is because there are literally children who starved to death in the course of this interview. Babies. And so you're sitting there with the war criminal who's doing the starvation being like, So how do you feel about McDonald's? Oh, it's mid. Oh, okay. Well, what do you think about fucking Burger King? Oh, Burger King's better. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? You're humanizing him is what you're doing. People who watch this might be like, he doesn't seem that bad. Guy likes a Whopper. Who doesn't like a mean Whopper on a hot summer's day, you know?
He could be fucking assassinated by American bombs, by Saudi bombs, or any other. Like, he is one of the least powerful people on the planet. This Benjamin Netanyahu is one of the most powerful people on the planet. So in this opportunity, instead of humanizing him, you guys could have had someone that is knowledgeable enough not to ask that question, and instead, when you say, like, are you starving children? And he says no, the person could turn around and say,
for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, Hasan,
Hasan,
you make a great point, and I understand your comparisons to Hitler. I see your perspective. And yeah, I think just with the full sim pod, like I told you, we're just not here to choose the guests. We're gonna have anyone on.
Why do you have a show? What is the point of you? We're never gonna choose our guests or what we talk about. It's just gonna happen. It's the Happen podcast. Things just happen to us, and we just gotta sit there and take it all day. What the fuck are you talking about? And it's just so wild that he went from like, yeah, I think you make a couple good points. I understand it's probably fair, the comparisons to Hitler. Agree with you there. Nick Fuentes, talking to Nick Fuentes the next day, all right?
Even if it is a wanted war criminal, and we're just going to let the viewers decide. And I think they spoke very clearly, and I don't think just because we platform people,
right? And do you know why that is? That is because a very large percentage of both the left and the right now are horrified at what they're seeing. So that wasn't because of you. That wasn't the hard work that you did. That wasn't like, hey, this proves our entire philosophy true, because people in our own audience are like, what the fuck? That's because the world is like, what the fuck? And you just sat there being like, yeah, but what about McDonald's, bro? What do you feel?
For the person's message. Yeah. Like, I don't, that's just the bottom line. Like, go look at the comments.
We give you an
I just don't think that,
it's not,
I don't think that you guys would do that, is my point. Like, if there, because there's no other, because you already said you wouldn't, you already said you would not, if given the opportunity, you would not interview Adolf Hitler. So there is a limit to it. Like, there's an upper limit.
Well,
it's not because
we didn't say that. We said a type of, but also.
Oh, so you would. What would you talk to Hitler about? What riveting conversations? Do you have questions ready? I mean, you probably wouldn't get some of the references. You'd have to go a little bit older, but you talk to him about painting?
So Hasan, it's crazy. And
I think it's evident that just because we platform someone, just because Nelk sits next to them, doesn't mean we agree with everything they say or do. One, because
that doesn't matter.
And number two, just because we platform someone, it doesn't. Our viewers are fucked.
Yeah, but like, if you bring on a neo-Nazi, as you did the next day, you spoke to Nick Fuentes. If you bring on a neo-Nazi, and then in a conversation with a neo-Nazi, you let that neo-Nazi just run circles around you and get all his neo-Nazi talking points out. So maybe not all of your audience, hopefully a handful of them are like, ew, gross, I'm not down with this whole Nazi shit. But some of them suddenly are like, he's making a lot of sense to me. I want to look up more. I'm going to look up this Nick Fuentes guy. He's accomplished his goals there. Like, I know the discussion of platforming is like a very complex one, but this one is a very, very simple question. Why did you bring on a war criminal who's actively doing a genocide and then pal around with him? You don't absolve yourself like you tried by posting this one thing. We actually brought up the question of he was starving people in Gaza, so yeah. And his answer, again, like Hasan eloquently put it, use the two of you like a fleshlight, because he's on there doing his propaganda. You asked him, so why are some people saying that you're starving kids in Gaza? Immediately he's like, we're not. This is Western, this is the propaganda of Hamas. It's Hamas who's actually starving the children. We're trying to bring in aid. Then you've just fucking helped him do a genocide. You have spread and normalized a genocide on your show.
Like, go read the comments. Like,
yeah,
but also proof that just because we have someone on, it doesn't necessarily mean a W for the guest.
No, I understand that. There are plenty of people that I disagree with that I communicate with. But there's a difference between, there's an upper limit to it, is my point. And that upper limit is like far past when it comes to fucking someone like Benjamin Netanyahu. My limit is far before Benjamin Netanyahu. It's someone like Nicholas Fuentes or someone like Andrew Tate. But even if I were to engage with people,
Well, you did speak to Andrew Tate. But I mean, that's a great example there. Hasan brought on Andrew Tate, or Andrew Tate brought on Hasan. Either way, they were both on each other's shows because, you know, he had an opportunity, and he ridiculed him publicly. And like, that's very different than bringing on Andrew Tate and then being like, what's your favorite Bugatti? You know, what's your favorite fucking cigar? What do you like? And then afterwards being like, I mean, yeah, some people are upset, apparently, and, you know, our own audience isn't too happy about it. I get that, but we're just going to talk to anyone, and we're going to bring on whatever the opposite of Andrew Tate is the next day. You know?
Like that. It depends on
Tate.
the platform that
Talk
they
to
have
Tristan
and how
Tate,
much
so you can get both perspectives.
how much prominence and how much influence they hold over a large enough audience. Because I feel like it's unproductive, it's counterproductive if they hold no staying power whatsoever. So I'm not saying that it's bad to interview Benjamin Netanyahu, but if you were going to do that, it's such a important task that you have to take it seriously, and you have to have someone who is knowledgeable to be able to push back, because he's a fucking liar.
Son, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. As you know, then they're going to be very specific with who they allow to interview them. We've already covered that, right? Is his PR team going to allow him to go on a Hassan Abi fucking live stream? Probably not.
No, of course
What is your
not.
point?
They would.
Someone that's had Trump on 3 times.
No, I think listen.
This guy has resting I fucked up face. I don't think I've ever seen anyone with like this extreme version of the condition. But like every single time I see, like, it doesn't matter what the freeze frame is, he's always like. That's why I got fooled. I was just looking at all the still frames that were all over the internet for yesterday. I was like, holy shit, that guy realizes how much he fucked up. But he doesn't. That's just his face.
I think we're gonna wrap this up soon. It's fucking
Wait, last thing I want to ask.
Wait, we're in Europe.
Hassan, last thing, we text off stream. Obviously, we are boys. We talked about lifting together, hooping together. So there are things that we can't agree on, but when it comes to this stuff, it creates animosity. So I just want to point that out.
Sorry, what? I didn't even understand the sentence he just said. Did he say we are boys? We enjoy pooping and stuff? So at the end of the day, like I'm like, what? Just before we go, I just want to say, hooping.
All right.
Okay. Even that's weird. Given the context of the conversation, you just platformed Hitler. Do you realize how fucked up that is? Do you understand that in historical context, you two could be tried for collaborating with the war criminal if there were trials similar to the Nuremberg trials over this? We hear you, I get you, and I just want to say, we can disagree, but like, we like to lift, right, brother? Right? We like to do some lifting and pooping. We could maybe go pooping together.
But you have to. There's a reason why there's 6,000 comments here. I'm looking at the comments right now, and everyone's cooking you guys.
We read them. We read them.
We know. Hassan, we're aware. But
I mean, that should be evident that the Fulsome podcast has people on, and the viewers decide.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
All right. Good luck.
And also, like, why the fuck would you want to play basketball with these fucking clowns? I'm guessing that, like, Hassan wants to play basketball with people he's friends with or likes. And, like, I guess that's the olive branch at the end, right? Just like, hey, you know, we can have some disagreements, but, you know, when it comes down to it, we can really fucking just hit the courts. Powerlifting, find a porta potty, do our shit, you know?
Mate or Gabor Mate is a Holocaust
text me.
survivor.
I'm gonna have Steiny. I'm gonna have
Hassan.
Steiny text you, and if you.
Okay, I will. I will send you.
By the way, that won't undo the damage of what they've done, and also, I don't know, the potential liability here. But yeah, absolutely, bring on Dr. Gabor Mate. Cannot imagine a better person to speak to. I think that would be incredible. That's, you know, not only one of my personal heroes, but a man who has brought fucking Theo Von to tears by, I think that moment where Theo Von gets it and he cries and the whole thing clicks, finding that is more important than whatever the fuck half of the debate perverts on the internet want to do all the time. Like, I think, like, just if you can just find whatever combination is required to suddenly turn on someone's humanity or make them actually make that connection, and then they can actually sit there and once they do, Like that those are the kind of things that have your entire world turn around, right? You actually are like, holy shit, I never thought about it in that way. You're totally right. Oh my God. And you know, it's just so profoundly fucked that this happened, and like also that it happened and they just don't give a fuck, right? Like she's just being like whatever, man, let's go fucking pooping. Aaron Templar, thank you for the $4.99. Mike Figueredo said of AOC's defense of her vote, I didn't buy a rifle for the shooter, I only bought him the bulletproof vest. Hey, he kind of took my analogy, the analogy that everyone got mad at. Because I basically, when I saw her post that, I was like, I think if there was like a serial killer, even if after that serial killer had committed crimes and was now trying to defend his home, it would be abhorrent to buy the serial killer a bulletproof vest, right? Like, I think everyone agrees with that, but a lot of people did not. I got fucking flooded with comments of people being like, so you just want Israeli children to die? Lance admits it. The Serfs admits that's what he wants. This is the left. And then all this shit. I was like, never said that. This shit is so fucking bad faith at this point. And honestly, it's just white noise now, because all these people, they can't weaponize the shit they don't care about, is the other thing that I'm realizing more and more every day. Like everyone who says like, oh, you're an anti-Semite, you don't care about racism. You are a racist. You are a proud racist. You can't weaponize the idea of someone spreading Jewish conspiracy theories and shit like that, which people do, and you don't care because you platform those same people, right? Like the people who are anti-Israeli but also anti-Semitic, Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, Sneeko. There's a lot of fucking, like, there's endless examples of that, and then all of a sudden on the other end they'll be like, oh well, yeah, but like those are the people who are bad, and I was like, those people are racist bigots, though. Do not see that, and they're not just racist. Ask for their opinion on trans folks. I'm pretty sure you'll know what the answer is. Ask their opinion on gays. Pretty sure you'll know what their answer is going to be. It's going to be quite consistent amongst that group, because they don't care. They don't care about those groups. They don't care about the oppression of other people. So to try and weaponize this shit is so hollow. It's unbelievably hollow to have someone stand there and then just like try to posture and be like, oh yeah. I like the part where the Nelk boys got noticeably scared when Hasan mentioned how member media are trying to get hanged in their own brig trials. I don't even think it really affected them. I'm going to disagree, because maybe it was because I think the only moment that actually got right through his skull was the do you not realize you can't both sides of genocide? You're talking on like consistently about both sides in this. We're going to bring on other people from the other sides. We're going to both sides this. You couldn't interview a survivor of Auschwitz and Adolf Hitler. That makes no sense. These are not comparable. There's no two sides to this. One side, like, this is the highest crime humanity can commit. It's so bad, and as Hasan says it, you can't even do it as a form of revenge. Like, that needs to be stopped as well.
People to interview, but if you were to ask me ahead of time, I would have told you not to do this interview, for the record. I only found out after you did this interview.
When he texted me and he said, yo, you had so-and-so on the podcast, ! Was that more of a shock, or
yes,
what was that?
It was a shock.
Shock factor. Okay, making sure. Hasan, thank you so much.
All right. Bye, guys.
Talk to you soon, bro. All right, take care.
Jesus Christ.
Ay. Don't send them Norm. He's not good on podcasts. No, I wouldn't. Gabor Mate, I think, would be better than. No, I think. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I think they realize they bit off more than they can chew, because like everyone's cooking them.
In the comments, yeah, I know. A lot of people are sending me links to the comments to look through it, but like, that doesn't excuse it. Like, that's a good outcome from a terrible fucking thing that they did. Like, okay, it's good. This is more reflective, not of that their strategy was in any way anything other than deplorable, but that this is just like the general sentiment around the world across all political ideologies. At a certain fucking point, seeing dead children starving to death, there is no one on the other side of that who's going to suddenly be activated to support that. like you lose supporters the more you do that, the longer it goes on, and effectively the entire world eventually turns on you. Because like I would hope that it would have been a lot sooner, but yeah, seeing, I guess, all the emaciated and dead children at this point is having a handful of people be like, this is gross at the very least. Like, you know, not that like we're gonna do something about that, but this is just fucking gross.